Hi, my name is Genevieve and my life was radically transformed by someone inviting me to church. So Abe and I had like a very ungodly relationship. It was very focused on the wrong priorities. Yeah, so when Abe started going to church, his life totally turned around, which affected me a lot. Yeah, and I didn't really know how to react because he was fully transformed and not really the person that I was dating anymore, because obviously his priorities were a lot different than mine now. So Abe kept inviting me to come along to church to see what it was all about. And I was very against it at first, like, this is ruining our relationship, this is pulling us apart. So honestly, when I first started going, I didn't really see Christians as like people, because I thought they were just very like robots, like just following the same thing. Now it's just totally different. I remember back then wanting to hide my whole life from everyone that I was there with. But now, you know, I'm literally here sharing my story on a video for everyone to see, knowing that there's so much power in the truth and in honesty. My relationship with God was pretty much non-existent before I started coming to church, actually even when I was going to church at the start. And God used that and completely turned my life around to where I am now, which is the best version of myself. Yeah, Abe and I have our priorities straight. I have my priorities in the right direction, and we're chasing God together, and it's never been better.
Hello, my name's Abraham and my life has been radically transformed through a friend who invited me to church. So at the time leading up to me getting invited to Oceans Church, I was not close to God at all. I was going to church every now and then because my family wanted me to. And so I would go kind of just because I had to. At the time, parties and drugs and alcohol, all of that was a big part of my life. That was kind of the central focus. So Jared Nissen was the one who invited me to Oceans Church. He was a good friend of mine. We'd gone to high school together. And honestly, I said yes the first time because I figured my parents were going to make me go to church anyways, so I might as well go to one with a friend. So that was what I thought, that was what I felt. And yeah, I ended up going to church that day. I actually had an encounter with God. It wasn't at a church service or anything like that. I was just doing my own thing and God just rocked up and started speaking to me. And so because of that, I thought I should go to a church. That's when it started to become consistent for me. I started to come every week and actually made the decision on my own to start going. Honestly, looking at my life now, I'm in a place where I never thought I would ever be. And I'm just so grateful for Jared to have the courage just to invite me, because it really has changed my life.
Hi, my name is Jared and my life was changed when I was invited to church. So starting off in a Christian school, I was introduced to God really early in my life, but never really took to it as I left that school in year one when my folks moved up north and I moved with them. As I went into a country town, things were really different up there, as the kids were all a little bit more crazy than I was, a little bit more rough than I was. And jumping between different country towns as my dad moved from mine site to mine site, I would make friends in a really temporary way. And it would always just be about seeking the next thrill, the next big thing. As I transitioned out of high school, I kept up with the partying, I kept up with the craziness, the big adventures and the taking things a little bit too far. And even though I tried to leave all that stuff from my old school behind, I still had a couple friends that were holding on to me nice and tightly. And one of those friends was Bree, who was a close friend through school, and we just kept contact. And then one day she started talking about a new church she was going to, and promptly started inviting me every week. And after that, after I went to church finally, it wasn't soon after that I met God. And my life has changed so much since. The people that have come into my life, the miracles that have come into my life, and it's just been this incredible, life-changing, like amazing journey. And I found so much more adventure in this than I ever did before. So I guess I'm just really, really grateful that I had someone keep inviting me to church over and over again.
Hi, my name is Bree. Before I came to Oceans, I was in a season where I was really sick and it was kind of affected by anxiety, and it was kind of just this cycle that just kept kind of following each other. I was really alone and I didn't really have many other friends except for Jared. He was probably like one of my few friends. And I had tried to plant myself in other churches before. I tried to make friends, but I just found it so impossible to try and break into already formed friend groups. But then I heard about Oceans and I heard that Chafin was starting a church. I eventually decided to go with my mum just to support Chafin. I wasn't going to get sucked into anything. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just go to like 1 or 2 services. So afterwards, I was immediately included and invited to dinner, to hangouts of teams that I wasn't a part of, just they wanted me there. Yeah, it was really nice to have a place to feel like I belonged. And that's kind of like when I invited Jared, and he wasn't very interested at the time. But yeah, he eventually came along, and I think the church is a lot richer for that as well. It's really cool to have friends who I've known for a really long time be a part of my church family as well as like my friends' family as well. Never give up, there is power in your invitation.